Here's Johnny.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho.
When you're down here with me, you float down!
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
What up, film fans? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the month of December, and welcome to a new episode of Friday the 14th podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan, and I'm joined by...
That one dude's addicted to Dr. Pepper and hard physical media.
You're addicted
Uh,
to the DP.
Sponsored. Nah, not yet, at least. I am the 4K bad guy.
You got something in your eye right there?
What?
What? Anyway, man, it's been forever. It's been like 2 weeks. Everybody out there listening and watching on Amos Watt Productions YouTube channel. Hope everybody had a safe and happy Thanksgiving. The last time we joined you for an episode was Thanksgiving a few weeks ago, so you can listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search up the Cinema Movie Podcast, and there you can find the past year's episodes of Friday the 14th podcast. YouTube-wise, you can watch this on demand on Amos Watt Productions YouTube channel. So yeah, go check out Thanksgiving. I think it was a fun episode. And it made me want to dig in to some Thanksgiving lore. So that was a fun conversation. Today's a little different. Today we're talking about a Shudder exclusive, or Walmart also picks up and sells copies of Shudder exclusives, which I think is cool. We're going to get into that conversation a little bit later on too, about physical media and what some of these exclusives will do to physical media. But today we're talking Christmas, Bloody Christmas. But before we dig into that, Nick, man, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was nice. Got to see relatives that I haven't seen like maybe in a decade or so. I did, of course, drink Dr. Pepper. That was a given. Didn't go too crazy on the food. I mean, I just had one plate. But
Oh,
what's one plate really? I mean, one plate can be stuffed with a bunch of stuff all at once. But yeah, I got what I needed. Enjoyed it.
when they look at you and they're like, Nick, you've kind of gained some weight, and then they give you like a 6-pound plate of turkey. Here, have some more.
Go ahead, take
Or,
some to go.
or was I was gonna say, is that why you didn't have a second plate? Because they're like, load up, because you're about to have leftovers for days.
Honestly, I'm a one day type of guy, so I'm like, I'm gonna get done here and that's it. Now if Thanksgiving revolved around spicy chicken, because that's like my main thing right there. Anything spicy chicken, I would eat it every day.
Well, you could have had a spicy turkey, I guess.
I mean, no one makes those, or maybe it's like in Popeye's kitchen somewhere. I know
Yeah,
Popeyes was doing the turkey sales, but
it's like $60 for like a 10-pound Cajun turkey. It's ridiculous.
Cajun turkey.
Yeah, looks like garbage. Um, Anyway, you can reach and see all the links to last episode on the Instagram, Friday the 14th podcast. You can also just search any of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Friday the 14th podcast, or at Imiswa Productions. Again, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So check it out. We'll start with you. Have you seen anything lately, like in the movie theaters, or I know Survivor Series was this past weekend. Anything that you want to recommend that you've been keeping an eye on?
As far as theater going, I mean, I've been MIA for a bit. I know last time I mentioned that I would go see the red one, but I actually didn't get around to go and seeing it. I think maybe the movie that kind of piques my interest would be that new A24 movie. Y2K, is it?
Y2J.
Y2J? Yeah. I mean, that's the one that kind of piques interest there. Still looking forward to that Nosferatu movie coming out. What else is coming out? Not that I'm the biggest fan of this film series. I mean, I'm a fan of the character itself. Sonic 3.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's coming out pretty soon.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna be a fan of the restaurant.
Sonic Drive Thru.
I know you love those. You love those extra long corny dogs.
Extra long. I mean, funny enough, I live near Sonic, but I never go. It's just like an every once in a while type thing.
They're terrible.
Um, um, trying to really think of the recent film watches. I did finally get around to seeing the the last Japanese Grudge movies that they were released. They had released them like in 2014, 15. So I mean, the thing is, I didn't have no subtitles on those, so it was more of a visual watch than knowing what's going on. But I kind of put two and two together since I've been a fan of that series, so I kind of know the story of it. So
That's nice. How many times do you probably do that? Do you do that quite a bit when you're watching? Like, even if it has subtitles, do you kind of find yourself not looking at the subtitles because you're like, you know, you're just so involved in the story? I'll mention one. Parasite is like that for me. I can watch Parasite and not really pay attention to the subtitles and just get lost in the performances.
pretty sure there's movies out there I just don't really come to mind. But I mean, whenever there is subtitles, there's some movies where it's not that difficult to keep along. You can kind of, it's like in this peripheral view kind of thing. Although there's movies where they talk really fast and it's kind of hard to keep up with that. But for the most part, I think I'm adjusted to this whole thing.
Nice. Uh, so if you had to recommend anything, did you check out Survivor Series at all?
Yeah, I checked that out.
What'd you think? Can we give a little 2 cents on it?
From my point of view, I mean, it was watchable. I think a lot of people were saying it was pretty mid. Uh, I think it was just mainly like for sure the main event. I was looking forward to because I'm a big CM Punk guy, so I was definitely interested in that. I thought the Gunther and Priest match was pretty good, pretty decent there. Um, the
I only watched
women's,
I only watched 3 matches on the whole card, and but the one I did not watch, I heard the triple threat match stole the show.
the thing about that triple threat match is that I think I was making tacos at the time,
Mm,
crispy tacos. So I really didn't catch all that match. I probably rewatched it again, but I figured it would be a good match. They had what was it Kaiser? I think that's his name.
yeah.
I forget his name. Um, and then I'm actually going blank on their names here. Sheamus. So I know Sheamus, but
Oh, and Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. Yeah,
And Shinsuke Nakamura won the US title that night, so
it was. I don't know if we want to call it a surprise. I mean, what are you gonna do? Have him lose that match on his return? It's
yeah.
like they had to, but I mean, at the same time, you're like, LA Knight was kind of a good person with that title. Um, but with that match, I didn't really pay attention really to was the first match was the women's War Games. I think it was like 15 minutes after when I actually tuned in. So
It was a decent pay-per-view. I think a lot of people are just expecting too many big surprises nowadays. And if those big surprises don't happen, they're like, it kind of sucked. Like, it was actually a pretty solid show. Your expectations were rock, and, yeah,
The Rock.
yeah.
But another thing, I mean, just like I guess because last year compared to that, I mean, they kind of just threw you with three Pretty returns. I was gonna say big returns. Our truth, which I always find hilarious. It was just kind of that was like a bigger surprise even then. It was random. And Randy Orton you already knew about. I'm a big Randy Orton guy as well, so seeing Randy Orton and CM Punk on the same night, that was I was like, all right, that's kind of was kind of hard to top. Um, but yeah, it was nice, and then I did catch Raw or pieces of Raw in there.
Raw. Um, my recent watches was all over the place. It was kind of girthy. But I'll mention some real quick and then get into what I was going to get into. Funny people um, didn't realize this, but it's kind of a Thanksgiving movie. Um, even though it's a girthy 2.5 hours, really solid film. I keep forgetting how good that movie actually is. The Godfather, stealing a line from The Godfather. It's like every time I want to get away, it just always pulls me back in. So uh, I just I could put it on just thinking it's gonna be like background noise, but then it's just like, nope, I gotta pay attention to it. Um, and then I went on a complete Robin Williams binge to get ready for our episode last week of our top 5 Robin Williams movies. So I was on a complete Robin Williams binge and checked everything out I could, everything I get my hands on. So if you guys want to, you can check and check that episode out anywhere you listen to podcasts at. It was a fun, emotional episode. So yeah, if I had to mention one or two Robin Williams films real quick, Jack, Disney Plus, What Dreams May Come, 1 Hour Photo, Hook, and Insomnia. So go check some of those out wherever you can. Stream them, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy them. But let's get ready, Nick, to dig into today's episode. Today was kind of my pick actually. Not kinda, it was my pick. I thought this was going to be
Yeah,
a
it
little
was definitely your pick.
I thought it was going to be a little bit better watch than I thought it was going to be, but we'll see. I don't know if this is the first time watch for you, but we will see. Today we are talking about Christmas Bloody Christmas. Currently on IMDb, it's at a 5.1. Rotten Tomatoes is at 77%, 46% on the Metascore. Letterboxd is at a 2.8. With a box office, even though it was a Shutter exclusive, it grossed a little over $250,000 at the box office. Um, Starring Riley Dandy, Sam Delch, Jonah Ray, Dora Madison, directed by Joe Begos. You can check this out on Shutter or AMC Plus. Um, it's Christmas Eve, and Tori just wants to get drunk and party when a robotic Santa Claus at a nearby toy store goes haywire and begins a rampage killing spree through her small town. She's forced into a battle for survival. Um, so let's dig into it a little bit, Nick. Is this the first time you got to see Christmas Bloody Christmas?
This is indeed my first time. It was something special. My first time, of course, knowing about this or hearing about this was really just seeing it sit on the shelves at Best Buy for a long period of time. I think it even stayed on shelves till Best Buy just got rid of their physical media.
Yeah.
Um, but I was always intrigued. Just the slip cover itself was like I like the way that slip looked, and it was like around maybe $12 or $13. I want to say around that price range. So it was
Yeah.
always tempting. It just said I never really pulled a trigger, so it just kind of flew by me.
Well, I had always seen ads for it anytime you watch something on Shutter. But like you said, I seen it for the first time at Best Buy. $13 was a pretty good deal. That Black Friday, actual Black Friday last year, is whenever I snagged it, and it was only like $7. So I was like pulling the trigger. Best Buy's getting rid of everything. Let me just pull it up, snatch it, and I got it for $7. I actually watched it that weekend I got it. Um, and yeah, I was not expecting what I got into. So, but let's dig into it. If you guys have not seen this movie, spoiler heavy. It's a massacre anyway, so we're not really going to spoil much. We're 15 minutes and 36 seconds into the episode. Go check it out on Shudder. Go find it on physical media. But Shudder's only $6.99 a month, so go check it out. You get your first 7 days for free, and yeah, pretty cool. Go check it out. Um, I gotta say, the moment I started rewatching this movie again, I was just completely baffled how the synopsis really does kind of tell you everything you need to know. Um, that's all Tori is worried about doing is getting drunk and screwing. That's not
Mm.
in the synopsis, but that's all she literally wants to do. And I feel like the first 10 minutes is just the story completely going away from the psychotic robot that is supposed to mangle and murder people. And it kind of just slowly goes into Tori and Robbie about how the plot is set up for them to get drunk and do it together. And I'm like, that's kind of it's entertaining, don't get me wrong, but that's where I got lost this go around was like, man, I forgot how the first 15 minutes is just a complete snooze fest about how they're just trying to get at each other in a in a sexually active way.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way the movie started with the commercials and
Yeah.
ads. How that started, that was cool. They even give you a glimpse of the Sananator. um, yeah, just the whole her friend or employer at that and trying to get her. It's like you don't want to go with that other guy. He's a father of four and all that. But she's like, oh, I was like, nah. I mean, I don't want to be alone for the holidays. I don't care. Just
And the
like a
guy
one night
who
stand.
the guy who plays Robbie is like completely already like douchey looking, if I can say that. Like he doesn't really have to act very good to pull off that part. But I do like how the set and the tone of the movie is how it's like always in a dark setting. It's the fake snow in the movie is ridiculous, to be honest with you, because it's just super thick and you can tell how fuzzy and fake it is. But um, I think that's a positive for the movie because it takes away from maybe some of the bad acting skills with some of the other people, but it also takes away uh, how big and evil looking the Santa is, if that makes sense. It kind of adds to his lore, if you will, which I thought he looked pretty cool. What do you think? The guy who plays Santa is called. His name is Abraham Barubby.
Rubbery,
Brubbery.
rubbery.
Yeah. that-
He look. I mean, it was really a lifelike. I was expecting more of a, I don't know, like plastic plastic mold or something like. I know it was more animatronic. Like, um,
This would have been a perfect role for Glenn Jacobs or Kane if he wasn't in politics already.
See No Evil 3,
Yeah. Or this
the
this could have been called the red one.
red one, the big red one.
Yeah. But what was your thoughts on like the Santa Claus in general? Like, I thought for the kind of movie it was, I thought he looked pretty cool.
Yeah, big and intimidating, but also looks like because in the cover he has green eyes. So I was kind of expecting he would be more with like green eyes. Um, and I wasn't really look too much into detail with the skin, so I thought it was just gonna be more robotic, but real life like.
And you didn't see the green eyes until like closely toward the end, really. But I like the way you put it, the Saninator. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, so the general idea of the story, though, is that all these animatronic Santas are on heavy recall. They're going back to their old like um, warlike memory sticks, I guess, and they're just like completely going bonkers. This is supposedly the one of the last ones in town, and boom, he goes on like a killing spree. So But
Yeah, just up in display.
I don't like how it did take a minute for Santa to really like start going on the killing spree, because what, it took about 25 minutes into the movie, right? And this is only an hour and 20-minute movie. So it took about halfway into the movie for you to start seeing him come to life and attacking people. And he attacks the married couple, Jay and Lahana, right? The very
Lahana.
first Lahana.
Yeah.
He attacks those two at in the toy store. The very first. That's the very first two kills that you see.
Yeah. And of course the horny couple in the film, but you see them earlier on in well, at least the husband. I think he went over there and said what would you call the other shop? It was
Like a bar.
like it looked more like a movie rental or vinyl shop
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
where they work
See,
at.
yeah, vinyl shop. You're right. The bar was in the third scene. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm running on like 2.5 hours of sleep today, so you guys have to bear with me. I don't have as much Dr. Pepper in my system as Nick does.
You messed up there.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm running on a warm can of Monster Zero and some bread.
worm. What? Um. Yeah, they were the first ones to get it. If, but he was
Which
also getting it.
Yeah, which I do like the kills in this movie were kind of not over the top, but they also weren't like boring. There's not that many of them in here either, so I feel like it's not overly done, and I think you get in and out for a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. Because as soon as those two kills are done, you get back into the story of Robbie and Tori. They go back to her house, and I don't know, the whole way he just um has his way with her, like you saw it at the beginning of the movie, because that was the main subject that they were talking about. She was like nobody in this town knows how to eat a good meal,
Hmm.
and
There's a lot of eating in this movie.
and that's how he that's how this next scene for them goes into, and it's just like, okay, so we knew that was going to happen. I don't think that scene needed to be as long as it was, but the Tori was complaining about how the neighbors were like, their Christmas lights are too bright, something like that. So that's where Santa Claus goes next, is the neighbor's house. Um, Probably a scene that isn't really needed, but it was pretty cool to see how he disposed of the neighbors, I guess. So
How that yeah, the way the neighbor got his head stomped on the
yeah,
stairway.
yeah. Even with a small budget, I thought that looked pretty good. I was expecting something like way over the top, like cheesy, but it actually looked pretty decent. I will say I gotta give like so much praise to a bunch of these movies, whether they're Tubi exclusives, Shutter exclusives. Like for these having, you know, $10,000 to $1 million budget, sometimes the physical like makeup and the special effects, like that's one thing I will say I enjoy a lot about these low rated or these low ranked like horror movies, these B movies, is like, man, they don't have much money obviously for the CGI, so let's just make it up, make it up, and the blood, the fake blood, the gore. I thought it was pretty good in this movie. What about you? Special effects, I didn't have any complaints about.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Also in that in the scene where you have the kid coming out. So hey Santa, what did you get? What did you get for Christmas or something like that? And he's going through the gifts and he pulls out the clothes like he's so disappointed. Um, but later on you get the shot through the window. With Tori and what's the other guy's name? Um, they're
Robbie.
looking out the window and then they see Santa attack the kid. That's a cool shot there.
Going through and Robbie doesn't make it out too late. He actually gets it pretty early. Um, what'd you think of Robbie's death, where he gets the axe like right into the back?
It was like in his head, right? Or
Yeah,
like it was just kind of hit, and of course it hits the front of the car.
yeah, the
It
back
was
of the
pretty
head.
brutal. Um, yeah, I liked how that was shot, but I was kind of pretty early on, even like when they teased it when Santa's gonna go to their actual place. But I think Robbie puts the body like a body in front of him, or what? So where did he
Oh
get
yeah,
that body from? Just puts it in the air and gets taken out for like a rag doll. The sister ends up dying. I guess brother-in-law maybe,
yeah.
or maybe it's the other way around. He was the brother and sister-in-law either way.
They spent a lot of time at that bar too. I thought they were for somehow gonna go back to the bar, but after the sister dies, who Kansas Bowling plays Liddy, which is the sister, I believe, and I've seen her in some other stuff, but I just can't remember. Um, she was like an extra in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but nothing big. So, but yeah, I liked Robbie's death. I thought that was probably one of the best deaths of the movie. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. But I don't know. To me, once it was down to just Tori and the last 30 minutes of her just escaping this Saninator, as you call him, like I really do kind of feel that's where the movie kind of goes a little downhill for me because it just kind of dragged. She's like the sole survivor, and he's the only one she's like the only one he's chasing. So you kind of knew she's the only one that's going to be left. So it kind of just dragged a little bit. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, even kind of in between that, you just kind of cops' bodies to rack up there. Um, I mean,
The cops, the sheriffs, yeah, just some some
there
some, some kills like you said.
is some filler there. They were nice. But
Not
yeah, just the
necessarily.
point where she was gonna be the last one said anyway. But I thought at least maybe the main sheriff would have survived it. Um, who's that? That's that actor that usually Rob Zombie uses that guy. Was that Lou?
Oh, the one who did
Lou
the one who was the sheriff, Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Jeff? Yeah, Jeff Devaney Phillips.
Yeah, he played Herman in the Munsters. He's also he's been in a lot of other Rob Zombie movies. He was the warden in Three from Hell. Um, but yeah, I thought he was gonna survive in this movie too. And it's so strange that you bring up Rob Zombie because one of my next questions was gonna be like this kind of felt like it had some Rob Zombie sprinkled touches into it. Um, and going back to the beginning, I only bring that up because of the dialogue. Like I will say this dialogue was pretty well written for a cheesy like over the top horror movie. So that being said, I wanted to bring up this question like when every other word is like a cuss word, do you think that pulls away from the writing of like a any movie? It doesn't matter if it's a horror movie, a dramatic movie, or like it kind of fits these two characters, so it'll make a pass for me. But I thought the dialogue was pretty well written because they focused in the two main actors at the beginning of the movie, Tori and Robbie. I believed that they worked at a music store because of how vocal they were about their music and their Christmas music.
Yeah, the whole movie there, the opinions,
Yeah,
even it leading on to like the horror movie taste.
yeah,
I think she even kind of dogs on Blumhouse. Blumhouse was mentioned in there.
yeah.
um, it's funny how her character was. kind of playing the person that enjoys the movies that are technically underrated, or like usually she shows the sequels over the originals.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
good bring up.
but the dialogue, I mean, yeah, there's technically that's how people in real life talk all the time. So
It
it was
wasn't like
well put.
it
But for
wasn't
me
wasted
personally,
dialogue.
yeah, it wasn't wasted. It was just me personally. Well, you sound like a boring person, but but technically, I don't like being around people that like talking that way all the time. It just kind of kills the mood, the vibe.
And she, I like how you brought up that she's a sequel, like, uh, kind of lover. Like she finds the positives in sequels. Kind of also made me feel like this movie might get a sequel soon, or maybe they were expecting a sequel out already. The way they were talking about sequels in this movie. Um, that's a topic of discussion though. Pet Cemetery 2 over the original Pet Cemetery. I
The
think
Blair
I
Witch Book of Shadows.
Yeah, I think I gotta agree with her on Pet Cemetery. Um, Edward Furlong.
Anyone she had threw out the name Clancy Brown, I thought she was gonna make a Mr. Crab reference. He's
That'd
the
been,
voice of Mr.
yeah,
Krabs.
yeah,
Um,
that'd have been pretty cool.
what should say like Hellraiser? Was it Hell on Earth?
Yeah, that's the third one, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation for one day too on this podcast, especially with how many people love the third one more than any other Hellraisers. So interesting topic of discussion. This movie to me was a lot better the second time around than the very first time I watched it. So for you, I think it'll be interesting to see if you even have a taste in your mouth to watch it again. So, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Uh, in your opinion, who was hot?
Well, it's the wordings that taste, and then you lead on to this segment here. Because it was mentioned earlier, there was some eating. Even in that the first kill scene, there was some pre-eating there too. A lot of cake. Um, there was some definitely very hot scenes towards the end as well. Got very steamy, hot, fiery. But for the person I choose for this, um, it's got to be the main girl,
Tori,
Tori.
uh, played by Riley Dandy. So she's in another Christmas movie called A Hollywood Christmas.
She loves Christmas, even though in the movie she's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
very hating on it."
she's also in A Kiss on Candy Cane Lane.
Oh,
But yeah, so far it looks like that's her biggest movie is
her niche.
Christmas Bloody Christmas. She is in a Netflix movie called That's Amore. So
Featuring Enzo Amore.
yeah,
Hmm.
but anyway, if you want to check her out, she is in Christmas Bloody Christmas. It's exclusively streaming on Shutter and AMC Plus. I'd have to agree with you, Nick, on who's hot. So um, we can talk about a favorite scene or two. Um, you know how we always bring up favorite kills as well. So before I mention a favorite scene, I think I'm probably gonna go with Robbie is gonna probably be my favorite kill.
Robbie Kill.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, seeing it in that moment, it was definitely brutal, and just like I didn't expect it to be that soon. I thought at least they would be the final two standing. Um, just being cut off because even though was like a little bit. I mean, most of the time it was just them trying to get at each other, but you kind of, well, at least for me, I was like, all right, this Robbie guy seems pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing him survive. Um, but yeah, I think that kills one of my favorites. I'm trying to think of other kills, but just visually, I think I enjoyed the scene where the Senator, how he, he freaking attacks the kid. You don't see the full shot, but you just see him attack his arm, and how he kind of stares at him from the window. That was cool.
From the window.
To the wall.
Um, I will have to say, if I had to pick a favorite scene, I know I kind of harped on it earlier about how it's just predictable that she was the only one left alive, but probably how she just gets closer and closer to making him malfunction, whether he's like falling apart, his eyes start glowing green. I did like how she just slowly started nitpicking and picking him apart, piece by piece. Because it kind of, again, I'm not gonna sit here and compare a horror movie to real life, but it did kind of give it that sense of realism. Like, hey, if this really happened, maybe this is how a retail 5'6", 120-pound blonde manager survives. So I thought it was pretty cool. So my favorite scene would probably just be her leading up to surviving. So
The movie. I'm just trying to figure out how. Was he like have a GPS system going on there where he can instantly find her, or is he? He can track her phone. Something like that. Maybe she had her phone on her, and he was like, "Oh, just going by that." But I was like, he finds a way to find him.
you've seen the Santa Claus, obviously, right, with Tim Allen. When I was watching this movie, I kept thinking about how in that movie he's chubby, and they're talking about Santa isn't going anywhere without his sleigh, and it's like a tank with guns. And I kept thinking about how that's what this Santa Claus would look like Santa with his guns, and he's leaving the elves behind. And yeah, that's what I kept thinking about. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Could you imagine if this was like a real, like instead of him being like a serial killer robot who was like just like a Christmas decoration. I don't know, like an army Christmas decoration, and he just like lost his shit and started like rampaging. So he like gave you the old Sylvester Stallone's thumbs up and stuff, like Rambo and stuff. I don't know, but
I mean,
uh,
I liked how he randomly knew how to drive a car or an ambulance. He drove it all the way over there. They're like, it's like, what is that? And you hear the ambulance come by, and then he just kind of crashes though, but then, this thing go into flames.
that was another fun scene where they were like, "Yeah, you've had marijuana and alcohol in your system," and she's like, "That's not gonna make me hallucinate. That's not gonna make me see that 7 foot tall big red machine."
That's got to be King.
That's what I was waiting for whenever the ambulance started coming. That's gotta be Santa.
It's all just thing from the WWE would pull that off.
Yeah.
They show the big old footage on the Titron, the
That's from
ambulance.
the ambulance match last Sunday.
Oh no,
Her name is Tori, so
Tori Wilson, blonde.
um, let's talk about ratings then. Our Danny Trejo Machete ratings. How many machetes does this get? Um, I'll go first, and then I'd like to hear your reaction since this was your first time, because you always remember your first time.
Mm.
Um, so I think I'm gonna give this movie a 2.5. Um, I was kind of sitting in between a 1.5 and a 2. And then the rewatch today, I was like, you know what? You're in and you're out. It's an hour and 20 minutes. even though the movie spends too much time the first half getting you acquainted with Tori and Robbie and them trying to go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. I'm like, I didn't know where to point that in that part of the movie, but it kind of sets up the plot. Maybe you get a little attached to Robbie, but at the end of the day, you're here to see a big red Santa going through a killing spree, and that's exactly what you get. They at least get an I'm going to give them a B for trying to give you somewhat of a decent plot and some pretty cool dialogue. Um, but you know what? So far, this movie has I'm 2 out of 2 for I want a bit. Last year and this year, this is something that I've been wanting to watch when it comes to Christmas time. So that's what a good Christmas movie does, I think. And even though it's not like a 3 or a 4 rating for me, it's 2.5 isn't bad. So if you have Shutter, I would definitely go check this out. So 2.5 for me.
Yes. All right, that's
What
the
about
end of the show, guys. Number eight. For me, I'm gonna, I'll slap it. I'll slap it a 3. Um, yeah, it's enjoyable. It kind of reminded me of a late '80s, early '90s slasher film. But set in current times, or I would think at least around the area, because they did mention some
Yeah.
modern topics, especially the horror stuff, and the they did bring up Tinder, because that's how she was gonna go with that guy that she was supposedly gonna be with.
Yep. So you're giving this a 3. What about you? If this is something that you probably saw again on a shelf for $7, do you think you'd snag it?
If I was The Rock with $7 in my pocket, no. Yeah, most definitely. I can see it along the line. Over the years, might get like a nice special edition, maybe even a 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
would love to see a sequel to because they this
they
the
tease it at the end.
Santernator is very OP, overpowered. It took a lot for her just to put it down.
Yeah, and it like I really do like how you said that because it does give you that machine slash Terminator feel of an ending. Like he could come back, or almost even a Child's Play like ending. You know. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited. I'm glad you brought that up. That's pretty cool. So
If I had to give it another another reference of what I thought of towards the ending, whenever Santa's already his parts are pretty much missing, I thought about Robot Chicken from Adult Swim.
yeah,
It's alive. Um,
so that's pretty cool. I think that's exactly what a pretty decent horror film or any film should do. It should give you maybe another reason to try to watch it again. So I don't think I'm gonna put it up there with "It's a Wonderful Life" or "A Christmas Story," but it's definitely 2 for 2 as far as how many years in a row I've watched it for Christmas time. So uh,
tradition.
tradition.
Just
Hope
like
you guys.
Thanksgiving, this could be our Christmas movie, maybe.
There you go. Um, so yeah, go check it out, guys. It's on Shutter. Um, Christmas Bloody Christmas. Next time we come to you guys for a movie, 2 weeks from today, December 19th. Franco's pick, Smile Part 2. This is already, I believe it just started streaming on Paramount Plus. So go check it out. It's still in theaters as well. They still have a few showings here, at least where I'm at in Oklahoma City, that you can go see it. It does not hit Blu-ray and 4K until January 20th. So still a whole nother month and a half. I'm sorry, Nick. Hey, you'll have to bring it up to Franco. It's his pick. So so we'll have to find some way to log into Paramount Plus, even if it's like a one night stand. Plug into it, leave change on the corner, plug right back out. That's what we're talking about in 2 weeks, Thursday, December 19th, 8 p.m. Smile 2. I'm actually excited to see this one. I have not seen it. I missed it in the theaters. So that'll be the next time we come to you live on Friday the 14th for a brand new episode. Um, other than that, man, what do you got anything going on this weekend or what's going on?
Uh, Probably nothing, honestly. I don't know.
No wrestling?
Wrestling? No. Yeah, I don't think there's anything happening until maybe like next week, maybe.
NXT deadline is this Sunday. You think you'll check, or this Saturday? You think you'll check that out?
Probably, but NXT haven't really been keeping up.
Me neither.
So I mean, I I see things pop up, but like on Instagram and whatnot. But it's mainly just because I follow Roxanne Perez and Ren Sinclair because
Mm.
they're both Texas girls. They came from the indie scene, so
Speaking of Texas, a lot of football on this weekend. Conference championship weekend. The Texas Longhorns are playing for the SEC championship. Don't forget, me and Craig will be on tomorrow to talk and give predictions for those games. And speaking of another Texas native, next Tuesday, we'll be talking about Interstellar, Matthew McConaughey. Uh, can't wait. Should be a fun conversation. It's the 10th anniversary of Interstellar. That movie is heading back to the IMAX this weekend. So, Nick, if you ain't got nothing to do, you can always
all
hop
right,
on and all right, all right, all
right, all
right.
right, all right.
You can always go on to the IMAX and we can talk some Matthew McConaughey. So, but anyway, guys, hope everybody has a fun, safe weekend, man. Again, join us in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, we will be discussing Smile 2. So, and Nick, if there's anything else you'd like to add, I think that'll do it. We'll wrap it up and until next time.
We'll wrap it up and put it under the Christmas tree,
Under
and
the Christmas tree.
yep. Then hopefully it's not a clothes or shirt like the kid got.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. And should be fun. So this will be the last episode too next week or next episode in 2 weeks. That'll be the last one before Christmas. So we'll have to try to find some way to make it a little festive, whether we wear like a Santa Claus hat or something. So
I'll become Saint Night for one night only.
there you go. One night. That'll be your new name. The Santanator. So 2 weeks from today, guys, don't forget December 19th, 8 p.m. Smile 2, Friday the 14th podcast. Have a good night. See y'all next time.
It's the ultra.